welcome to Comics to Movies. My name is Steven. I have Sean waiting in the back room. I also have Kerim. He's also waiting in the back room. Tonight's show is going to be a lot of fun. Firstly, we're going to just run through XCT. It's currently on Indiegogo. I'll let the creator and the writer and the visionary behind XCT tell you all about it. The other thing we're going to talk about is Shazam the movie. That's going to be awesome. And for the first time, we're going to be talking about something slightly different, comic collecting in Australia, as well as opening a comic shop in Australia. So I know everybody has different comic collecting ideas. I think it'll be a really, really fun chat. And also, as we start talking about comic collecting, we're going to delve into probably some key storylines from the past. We're going to ask our guest, Kerim, what stories he has enjoyed. Because guess what? As per always, this is a creator stream, so we always want to give good advice so people can find out how to improve their stories, really. Sean, you want to jump in now?
G'day guys, how you going? Glad to see that I could make it onto the right stream this week after last week.
I didn't mention that at all. I just couldn't let
Darren's already mentioned it in the comments, so I appreciate that, Darren, for chucking me in under the bus straight away at the start. But no, happy to be here. Been a very big week for myself for XCT and comics to movies in general, so super excited to talk about that, and then hopefully share some exciting news next week. So we've got two talks next week, or live streams next week. So we've got one on Sunday night that we haven't put up or announced yet, and then we've got Dan Furigal coming on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, or 9 p.m. London time, or 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Sunday, the 19th in LA. So super excited for another big week, another episode, and super excited to talk about comic books, comic book stores, and what that entails.
And welcome, Kerim. We can see you there now.
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, look, and great avatar pick, like classic Frank
you.
Miller. You can't go wrong with a Frank Miller Batman.
No, you cannot.
So before we jump to Sean's XCT, a quick shout out to Max. Hey, welcome to the live chat, and a quick shout out to Quentin. Looks like we have a really big start today, so it's all very exciting. Sean, let's talk XCT on Indiegogo. I'll be putting the link in the live chat as Sean speaks.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Early on when we did these live streams, I had XCT up on Kickstarter. So we've decided to run a follow-up campaign for XCT Fractured World on Indiegogo. This is to help a little bit more with the printing costs, as well as some of the postage costs in regards to getting it over to America, because that seems to have gone up exponentially over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Really looking forward to running through this campaign. So it's a very short campaign. We've only got 15 days left. We're trying to raise $500 to, as I said, keep up with that those extra costs. We've got similar rewards that we did last time, which is your digital PDFs, your graphic novels, the digital collections, the limited edition variant cover, both covers. But we've also got a couple of extra rewards that we didn't have last time. We've got a couple of original sketches by Von Randall, which I'm super grateful that Stephen was able to organise for me. So we've got a Venom and a Batman one there for those Batman lovers. We've got a couple of sketch covers, and then the ones that I always love is the Get Drawn In roll, and one of our awesome original splash pages, double page. We've got that for $500, which I think's a pretty good price for pencil ink original page, and then we've got the design your own cover. So what is XCT? If you don't know what XCT is, it's based in the year 2069, where history's greatest heroes, villains, and myth creatures have been cloned, retrained, and forced to fight in the Extreme Champion tournament. Now, this is a great jumping on point for people that haven't read the series before, as it takes place outside of the arena. So if you don't want to know all the build up to what happened prior to that, this is a great jumping on point where you're introduced to the characters and can see where the story is unfolding from here. Otherwise, if you do, we do have all the catch-up bundles and everything like that. The Indiegogo campaign has the first 5 pages for you to have a look at, so you can get a feel of what the artwork is like, how it reads, and whether it's something that might interest you. And we've got the whole book now fully colored, so I've picked up the final pages this week, which is amazing. So they're literally getting lettered over the next couple of weeks, and this book will be done. So you can back with confidence that you are going to get what you pay for. So yeah, super excited about that. In the campaign, we've just got some quotes from some of the Spartacus actors about what they thought of the series and everything, which is phenomenal. And then you can have a look at the creative team behind, which is me, the creator, Ben, the writer, Alex, the artist, and Wilson does colors. So so if you can spare a couple of dollars, this sound interests you. I know there's a lot of people that have already backed the Kickstarter, so if you would be willing to share the Indiegogo link around, that would be absolutely amazing. We do appreciate all the support. So just looking forward to getting this in as many people's hands as possible. Indiegogo's been a bit of a mystery to me. We've got 2 backers at the moment, and I've got $75 raised, so we're only $425 from that goal. But super excited to see how this campaign unfolds. So yeah, that's my spiel done. I will leave you guys alone.
No, that's fine. Look, the feedback I've been trying to push your Indiegogo campaign. So the feedback I am getting is the artwork is amazing. So Alex's artwork on that series is very, very nice. So look, it's a great looking book. All I'm just hoping for is it gets the right people, the right eyes to look over it, and I think you'll be okay. The artwork's fantastic. It's an intriguing story, and all the best with the campaign.
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, we're really excited with this book. I think you can only have so many fights in the arena, and my idea is always to have show more of the world outside of the arena. So this one is really exciting because it starts to introduce everyone to what's going on outside the world. So super excited about that. We've also, if you haven't checked out, we've got a Patreon page for Comics2Movies, and we've got 3 short stories that have already been uploaded onto that. We've just released Stephen's latest one, which is the Pegasus story. So the first page goes live on Friday. So for as little as $1, you can actually get all of the backlog of pages on that. Now, you can't see that anywhere else. That's exclusive to Patreon at the moment. So if you love XCT and you're looking for some extra stuff to read, jump on our Patreon page and do that.
Fantastic. Oh, look, and so before we introduce our guest properly, because we're going to give him a huge segment so that he can talk about comic collecting Australia, we want to talk to him about Shazam. So do you have a Shazam poster you can pop up? I
do.
Fantastic.
I'm actually quite prepared tonight. I'm super excited to say so. There we go. How good is that, Shazam?
Yeah, look, What
I'm
are
really
your
glad
thoughts?
he picked this one because, all the other DC movies, excuse my language, are absolutely shit. But this one I actually really enjoyed. I actually really liked this one. So I was very happy that you said that I could rewatch this one again this week.
So to our guest tonight, and this is the first time you can chat. I'm sorry, we first 10
That's
minutes
all good.
we stole from you. What do you think of the movie?
Movie, probably one of my all-time favorite superhero movies. Just
Oh, wow.
very well done. Perfect actor he got. I was very skeptical, as everyone is before the movie comes out. Zachary, how's he gonna interpret it? But he did so well to portray Billy. He just played the character so well, and that's what Shazam is a young child within a grown man's body with the powers of the Greek gods, So he just portrayed it quite well. I watched it when did I watch it? Well, I watched it with my partner and mum and dad on Sunday last week, and then as soon as you asked me the question, what movie do you want to talk? I said Shazam. It's still stuck in my head. I could watch it at least. It could be one. It's one of those movies where I could watch it probably before I go to bed every night
Fantastic.
and not get sick of it.
So let's talk the character and talk a bit about character development here. And this is one thing I really did like about Shazam. Let's say I would say the Silver Age Billy Batson. So when he was a kid, he was a goody two shoes. He was perfect. He was never do anything wrong, always honorable. But I think they took a lot from the current the new 52. Again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But they took a lot from the rewrite. Well, guess what? The current Billy, he's a good guy, but he's in a bad situation. And he does things that to survive. For example, he will steal. He's not above stealing, but he's not stealing because he's a horrible person. He wants to deprive somebody of something. He's stealing to survive. So what do you think about that update in the character?
Yeah, I think it's more of a realistic approach because, like, in today's reality with some of the situations we do face, like, it's something that a few people can adapt to and say, I can relate to that character in quite the sense. How he's portrayed with the current, with how he's currently, sorry, just a bit tired. I've got work tomorrow. I'm just trying to get the words out. So I just think it's with this day and age, a lot of people, and kids included, can relate to Billy Batson within this current Shazam movie and the comics. So,
I absolutely love that about this update, and again, compared to say the Silver Age or the Golden Age, Captain Marvel, Shazam, is that what, if you're an orphan foster kid or whatever, you're not going to be the nicest. Although you might be a good person, you might not be the nicest person because you had to do stuff to survive, and that's what I really loved about it. And Sean, what do you think about the extended family? How Shazam, the wider cast, because it's not just Billy Batson, it's also the, all the other foster kids or orphans. I think some of them still had parents, but they were fostered out.
Yes.
What do you think of the extended family, Sean?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I was waiting for Jerry to pull out an axe and Ezekiel to walk in at some stage, but
too much Walking Dead. Too much Walking Dead.
Nah. I thought it was really good. I think that you can always have a really strong lead, but if you've got a strong supporting cast, then that takes the movie to a next level. And each one of those extended family members, I felt, really did that. They actually added something to the film, even though it was, mostly focused around Billy. I did love the fact how each of the individual foster kids kind of brought something different to the table, and then spoiler alert at the end where they all get their powers and everything. I thought that was phenomenal, and it did that family theme without being corny, or that's what at least what I thought. I thought they, did a very good family theme about wanting to belong, having a family, and that not necessarily be your blood, and but still be a family. And I thought they did that quite well without it being too corny type of thing, because I think sometimes with that avenue, you can end up being instant family rather than Shazam. So I actually thought that they did that very, very well, and I think that was due largely to the supporting cast, that their own characters were so strong.
No, I love the ending, mainly because it was really well foreshadowed. The power. It was, hey, look, we have to split this to 7. That all that foreshadowing, and so when it actually happened, it was really organic in terms of that final power blast. The fight, when the bad guys were going to win, the stakes were all down. That moment in the movie, you cheered. You would say, "Oh my God, something bad's gonna happen." Oh, bam! Everybody's got superpowers. I thought that was fantastic because it was built up nicely towards that point. If they never hinted at it and then suddenly they got powers, I think it'll be, oh gosh, Deus Ex. It's a bit boring. But the build up was nice. Karen, what do you think of the ending?
Oh, when they all grabbed the stick and said, "Shazam," I was in the movie. I may have squealed. My inner child may have come out. Perfect ending. Perfect ending. The way they've just done, I feel like the movie is quite underrated too, with everything they've done there, because I remember seeing some, of course there's always going to be some negative comments about it towards every movie, as there always is, but I think it was just probably one of the better DC movies done. Just the way it was interpreted, the way it ended, left you on a cliffhanger with who's I forgot the name of the worm at the end. The worm, not the worm, the caterpillar. Towards the end, towards the end, I hinted that he will be the next villain. I remember, forgot the name of him. I'll have to look it up.
Don't worry, somebody in our chat will come up with the answer. So I'm throwing it to the chat. Come back with the answer and who the next one. But they hinted the next movie is going to be Black Adam, and
that will be a very interesting take. The Rock is going to be quite interesting in that role.
I would like it though, because even the comics, Black Adam is meant to be this arrogant, you are all beneath me. And if you look at the Rock's persona, especially his WWE persona, when he's a wrestler, it's always that arrogance, the I own the room type thing. So I think he'll do great.
I think he will
and
too.
He does have that great personality that when he walks in the room, he does have a presence about him. He does have that look at me, type of thing. Even though he's a super nice guy outside of the arena, just his physical presence as well will I think portray that great. But I didn't know that much about Shazam. I hadn't really read many of the Shazam stories and everything, so for me, I felt like it was a really good introduction, and for them not to go for that big bad villain right off the bat, I thought was also a really good idea. Because I think DC's been notorious for trying to do too much too soon, and with Shazam, I just felt like it was really built up nicely. That at the end of this one, I was like, okay, I can't wait for the second one. And other than Wonder Woman, I don't think any other film that I've watched of theirs really gave me that feeling. Like I would go, oh, that's pretty good, or I didn't mind that, or Batman versus Superman, that was absolutely trash. But this one really made me kind of walk away and go, hey, I can't wait to watch the next one.
Kerim, to answer your question, the caterpillar was Mr. Mind.
That's what I just saw the comment there. Yeah. Thank you very much for that.
I told you, you just leave it to the chat. You throw a question out there, somebody will come back with an answer. Thanks, George. So just on Wonder Woman, since we're talking about it, and this is probably the difference between, say, Shazam and the Wonder Woman ending. The reason I didn't like the Wonder Woman ending was because they had kept building up. I'm assuming you've seen Wonder Woman, Kerim. If you haven't, get off the channel.
Yeah, I have. I have seen Wonder Woman.
If you haven't, get off. But the whole point of what I really disliked about Wonder Woman a lot was the whole build-up was Ares was always saying man was bad. Humans are insightful for violence. All I did was push them slightly over the edge. And so for it then to be the final reveal that he was basically mind controlling a whole bunch of humans, they had no free will. And as soon as he was defeated, everybody would, oh gosh, why am I fighting? I'll stop fighting now. That's the one part I didn't like about the Wonder Woman ending, because I would have much preferred it that although there's the big fight with Ares, that Wonder Woman hasn't stopped the war. Because guess what? People suck. We are greedy. We are narcissistic. We are, as a species, we're not the best. And we're fighting wars for all these horrible, horrible reasons. And for it to be a mind control from Ares in the end, I didn't like that. I would have much preferred that although they stopped Ares, the war didn't stop. Because that's the one part I like. What did you think about that one? In Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you're 100% right with that. The way they interpreted it in that sense, the way you interpreted it to me, because I didn't see it in that way. But because I haven't watched it in a while, but then when you brought it back up, it was correct. The way you said it, I don't like that as much because, yeah, as you said, humans, we're nasty. No matter what we do, we're going to be where we are born. We've evolved more with technology. I feel like per se, in regards to mindset, war and whatnot, we'll always be at war. We'll always be at war. And the way that we should have interpreted that, war's still going to happen no matter what.
I would have preferred it to Ares to be the one who's pushing them. Every so often he just pushes them across the line, make them a little bit nastier. But for it to be seen like Ares started everything, I don't think that's right. Because in the end, we start enough wars without anybody helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to put this one to Sean. There's a lot of comments about Aquaman. Better than Shazam?
Yeah, I really liked Aquaman actually. So, but I have to say, out of all the DC characters, Aquaman is the only one I ever collected. So I don't know why, but he just really seemed to kind of appeal to me. So I love Jason Momoa as an actor. So I liked his portrayal of Aquaman. So I really enjoyed Aquaman. I just noticed the other day I've moved into my new home, as you can see with my beautiful Star Wars posters behind me, but I've actually lost a box of Blu-rays, and Aquaman was one of those ones in there. So I was I re-bought it the other day, so I'm waiting for it to be delivered because I was like, I can't not have that one in the collection. So
I've gone purely digital now. Like even the comics I read, and this is going to be the fun segue. In case you guys haven't seen it, here it comes. Look, nowadays I collect digital. I went into there's a humble bundle that comes out, and I buy like thousands of dollars worth of comics for $30. When it all comes out. But throwing to our guests, collecting comics. What do you collect? What do you enjoy? And what's the excitement about still collecting comics?
Okay, so pretty much I collect a lot of Batman. I've got the.
Oh no, we couldn't figure that one.
So I'm on the rebirth at the moment with Batman. At the moment, I've still got a fair bit of catching up. I've got a lot of comics that I have a lot of catching up to do. Just my time, and I've just recently moved out, so I've just had no time. I've literally had these box of comics out here for a while. I've been meaning to catch up. I've got the New 52 Batman. I like the New 52 run. I really liked it. There was a bit of negative towards, I think, from issues 40 plus in the New Birth, Jim Gordon becomes Batman.
Yep. So that's
and has a robot suit.
Yep. No, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that one. Well, I'll let you go. But
yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I liked it because a very different approach to Batman. Something I didn't see happening, and the way he took over. But I think in the end he couldn't handle it, from what I remember.
Yep.
He couldn't handle it. He understands there's a lot more pressure to it than what he initially thought,
Yep.
even with the bat suit that he had. And then now I'm up to the Rebirth Batman, which I've only read up to issue. I've got probably 90 issues to catch up on. That's why to-do list. But I really like the first plot storyline with Gotham and Gotham Girl coming out.
Yeah.
That was very different approach, because to see that now Batman now has to face or deal with pretty much Superman-like characters now in Gotham. And to see, I don't want to spoil it too much if anyone hasn't read it, but one of them turning evil and then just working out from there, it was just quite eventful. I'm very excited for the new Joker War.
Yep. So that for people who don't know, the Joker War basically says that there is more than one Joker in the Batman continuity. So that's how come they never quite figure out his origin, because there's more than one.
Yeah. So now with the 3 Jokers coming out, I am all aboard that. I'm very aboard that. I want to see what approach and how they managed to sink in all 3 Jokers to one, like to understand the story and the complex situation behind that.
Yep.
So Batman, I've recently started collecting Venom, the new Venom series.
Yep.
And that has been, I only just got 1 and 5 from the mail on Saturday, I think that came in, so I still have to read those. So they're in the to-do box too. But I've heard a lot of hype with the new supervillain. No, I think Null, the symbiote god,
king of symbiotes. Yep.
Yeah. So I want to see how they approach him now. With they've announced the new series with Null coming out that he faces the Avenger or the MCU. That's going to be a very good approach. I wonder how they're going to do that, and if they will bring that into like a movie adaptation in the near future, because I think that would be quite an interesting take.
Yep. No, I'm looking for, but I've got to go back just on the Batman one, because there's one controversial question I've got to ask. And since you've told me where you're up to, I won't spoil it. There's this entire run with the current Batman series, which basically paired Selina Kyle and Catwoman with Batman, even to the proposal, even up to the wedding. The wedding didn't happen. What are your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of anger, a lot of hate on both sides of how the story played out. I would be really interested to know what you thought about the wedding not happening.
I need to catch
And here
up
I
on
thought
that.
you were going to ask about Batman penis.
Oh, no. That's the other controversial one. But we'll go with the story one first. The whole Selena Kyle.
I wish I had an answer for you. I'll have to catch up on that, and then I'll get back to you guys with an answer on that.
Okay.
I haven't read it through that. I did hear about some negativity and positivity about it with the storyline. I've read the comments and whatnot.
That was horrible on both sides. Both sides were. I'll give you my take on it. So, just without spoiling whatever happened, the wedding didn't happen. I won't spoil the exact events in case people are trying to catch up to it, but the wedding didn't happen. I thought it was the biggest shame, absolute biggest shame. And why I think it's the biggest shame, it's the idea behind character growth. And comics are a serialized format. And this was the one big change that could have happened for 30, 40 years. And I'm not talking about introducing new characters or something. This is actual character development within. This is the Mary Jane becoming Peter Parker's wife moment type thing, where the characters actually develop and move on. And they built up to it. A lot of the stories leading up to the wedding I've read, they were sensational. Like when Batman introduced Catwoman to Lois Lane, and they had a date night, the two of them. I thought that was one of the best issues that was, I think the writer Tom King wrote. But then to basically throw that all away and just have it, you know what, back to status quo. I just thought that was a waste. I like to see in comics things advance, things progress. And when it didn't, it was like, man, it was a golden opportunity for you guys to do it, and you just dropped it. And because you have so many more stories now. Instead, now it's back to status quo, back to the Bat family, back to him being brooding. Who's the next villain? It was just missed.
Yeah.
Have you read that one, Sean?
No, I haven't, but I just believe this is a major issue with long-running mainstream comics, is that when you continually have character stories, yet that character doesn't actually change, how do you show any sort of character development? I was a big fan of the Spider-Man Brand New Day series, where Spider-Man went to Mephisto, agreed to have never met Mary Jane, and kind of restarted the timeline, and that was a great turning point for Peter, because it's always been about Peter Parker and Mary Jane. So to not have her in the picture at all, I thought was quite interesting. But then after that story kind of ran, it was just like a click of the fingers and everything's back to normal. And I'm just like, well, again, as you're saying with this story, it's like, well, where's the character development? It's for long-term readers, it starts to get really frustrating, and for me, that's why I've slowly just stopped collecting a lot of the mainstream titles, and seem to have moved across to the indie scene more. Shorter runs, mini series, those type of things where there is a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's a good story, rather than this just ongoing, it's the same person doing the same thing just to a different person. It's just
So besides XCT, because you can't use that one, which other indie comic have you read that slightly serialized that you have really enjoyed?
So, well, Walking Dead is the major one, although a lot of people wouldn't say that that's indie, but it started out as indie. I was collecting The Siege by Boom Studios as well, which I really was enjoying that. I've backed a few different things on Kickstarter, so I'm just waiting for those. So I've jumped in after a couple of issues. I am sometimes a little bit skeptical of jumping in at an issue 1, because will I get the next issue, and that with the indie titles, so that's a whole another conversation. So I usually jump in at a 2 or a 3 and get all the back issues. So I've got a couple of those that I'm waiting on to kind of see. I really liked From Above, that got to about issue 8, which was an Australian comic done by Craig Bruin, but that kind of that went by the wayside as well. So, but yeah, there's a few different stories out there. The Umbrella Academy, I went back and read that after the Netflix series came out. I've just ordered The Boys because I watched that on Amazon. So there's a few different ones that are not necessarily the big Spider-Man, Superman, all that Batman type of ones.
Kerim, have you seen or watched The Boys yet?
I am in the middle of it. I think I'm up to episode 5 or 6. I'm very interested to go into the comic adaptation, see what they do there. The way they've done it,
very different. It's I'll let you go first, but it's very, very different.
Yeah, so pretty much it's one of those things where I tried watching it with my partner, and she didn't like it because that wasn't because she said when she thinks of superheroes, she doesn't think of what The Boys interpreted in the real how I see it's like the realistic world, how they approach it, the way their government sells. Oh, not the government. A company sells superheroes to the government and the corruption behind it. I think it's just a very different approach. It's something we're not used to. We don't see too often in series or movies or anything. So I've really been enjoying it. I've got a few more to catch up, but I've heard season 2 is coming out, so I've got to get on my hightail and catch up on that.
Oh, September the 4th, and I'm waiting for it. Look, I've read the entire Boys the run, and the adaptation for the series, it was fantastic. It was in terms of say what they call an adapted screenplay. I thought it was the best, because when you read the comics, there's no way you can adapt the comics. It is, if you think it was bad in the TV series, because it's in comic, they took the utter extremes. You think that people, the way they kill people, the way things happen, the comics are about 50 times crazier than this. So, but the way they
That makes it
adapted it,
exciting to hear.
no, oh man, you should see the stuff they do in the comics. But the way they adapted it for TV, because you've got a lot more restrictions on a series, they've done the most fantastic job. I love it. And the way they took the story differently as well, because there's some storylines because in the comic, they really took the piss out of a lot. There's one story arc where basically it's rip on the X-Men. It's just basically rip on the X-Men. There's a story, and you could not translate that properly into a TV series, but you could read it and enjoy it. But look, do both, but they're very, very different. And I think you enjoy both from 2 points of view.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Sean, I'm assuming you've read it or you've seen it?
I've seen The Boys, but I haven't read the comics, so I've ordered them
Yep.
to read. So yeah, the series that I've always enjoyed, that have always done like mini series and short runs, is all of the Star Wars ones. I'm a big expanded universe one, and they're really good at doing story arcs, and then sometimes doing. Usually, their biggest runs are about 50 issues. But then all of the smaller ones are about that 4 to 6, and that they really show that character development and kind of used to tie into that further expanded universe. So excited to see what they bring out soon as well. So the High Republic comes out later this year as well. So.
Oh, look, I love what they did with The Mandalorian. I was thinking in terms of a series. Again, the way it was written was just really, really well done. And it had so many throwbacks to, say, Lone Wolf and Cub. Oh, wow. I just really enjoyed it. It felt like a Western set in the Star Wars universe. And that's what I loved. It was a good story first, and then you threw Star Wars on top of it.
100% agree.
Yep. But look, Kerim, the reason we really brought you on, and since we're now talking about different comics and collecting, one of the reasons we did bring you on is I know you've been doing your best, and I know you've been selling a lot of different comics online. And what's your plans? Because, man, if you're are you planning to open a physical shop? Are you planning to stay online?
So,
how can people find out about you, really?
Okay, so pretty much I'll be doing it with one of my good friends. I'll be opening up. We're going to go half in the business. We're going to start off small at the moment. We'll see where the future takes us. Maybe I don't see us possibly opening a comic shop in the near future at this present time, but never say never. It could happen in the future, But at the moment, my goal is to provide key comics to the community and certain people's their grails and whatnot. So that's what we'll be doing through Instagram at the moment. So we're just getting that up, and we're still sorting out some books and whatnot at the moment. So so our plan is to pretty much provide everyone with their favorite superheroes and their first appearances, and have them on display so they can have a little bit of a bragging thing to their friends and whatnot.
Okay.
So, and something like a grail that everyone wishes they have. So that's what I want to try bring that into Australia. I know there is maybe one or two. I'm not sure if I do it online, but I want to take a different approach and do it online and be based within the Australian community.
Have you thought about, once you built up an audience and stuff, like I know there's a lot of US shops that they do live auctions, like what we're doing now, which is basically a live stream. They'll live stream into Facebook and YouTube because, the software lets you do that. And basically people can bid. And then, like, if we hold up something right now, we go $5, $10. Have you thought about doing something like that, or is that on your cards in the future?
So that's definitely on the books. We'll be doing that too. At this moment, we haven't that's on the plan. That's on the list to do at the moment. To do the live auctions, whatnot. But we haven't gone that far ahead and thinking too much into that if that
Yep.
makes sense. So yeah, but it's on the plans, and I will be doing that with certain issues, back issues, to help people fill up their comic series and runs and whatnot. So I think we should be able to help in that department too.
Okay. And I'll probably try to show them. But look, I've got a couple of keys which I like. Look, the one thing I do collect, and I think a lot of people know, is I like all the DC girls basically. So the super girls, the bad girls. And shout out to you. Thank you for helping me get my first appearance, Supergirl and Batgirl. I've been looking
No
for those
worries.
for years. So look, thank you very much. Sean, do you have any? I know X-Men 266 was one of your grails, which you've now got. Are you
Yep.
missing any grails at this point, or?
Well, for me, I would love to have the 2 Days of Future Past. So they're two that I don't have, which is Uncanny X-Men 141 and 142,
Yeah.
I believe. So, but yeah, I've got my Walking Dead #1, which is my
man.
grail.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's an
I've
amazing
got-
one.
Yeah,
You've
I've
got
got
two as well, don't you? You've got 2, 3, 4 as well, don't you?
I've got actually every single issue now of The Walking Dead.
Have you finished
That's
reading
incredible.
Sorry?
it? Have you finished reading it to the end, or?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
so
man.
the only one I don't have at the moment is Negan Lives.
That just came out, didn't it?
Yeah, so that's at the comic shop waiting for me to pick up. But people don't know I'm from Melbourne, so we've been locked down again for another 6 weeks. So due to the COVID-19, so I haven't been able to get there. So yeah, so I'll have to wait a few weeks or get it sent to me. So which kind of sucks. But yeah, there's a few keys that I would love to get. I've always wanted certain issues, but me, it's more about the cover. I've always loved certain covers rather than actual, first appearances or anything like that. I've got my Gambit first appearance, but
that's a great cover, though. The X-Men.
Yeah.
266.
That's
yeah,
great.
but I like my J. Scott Campbell variants. I like my Humberto Ramos variants, Joe Mad variants. So they're things that I like to get, but sometimes find it so hard to get from the US because by the time you add shipping onto it and the exchange rate, it just kind of puts it out of that worthwhile when it is not an actual key type of thing. So yeah, it's there are a couple of different places in Australia that do get some comics, but it always seems to be either super old stuff or new stuff that isn't kind of rare or anything. So there's not I think there is a good gap in the market there for those people that if they're savvy enough to be able to find certain things and kind of have their finger on the pulse and grab stuff or buy a bulk lot of stuff as they're coming out, is definitely a good opportunity here in Australia to do that.
So we don't need to know your secrets, but what's your plan to get a lot of these keys into? Because I'm like what Sean said, for us to, like an individual user, to say pick up a key issue, you've got import duties, you've got shipping. If you want to get it slabbed, there's another 40 something US on top of that, and all the rest of it. So what's your plans to bring the missing keys back to Australia? How do you intend to do that? Again, don't tell me your sources. That's yours to keep. That's your overall plan.
So pretty much, I've got
if you like. I don't mind either way.
I've got a few contacts in the States at the moment that they regularly offer me certain comics and whatnot. Yeah. And if I can get it for the price I'm looking for and then bring it over to Australia, but that has to include import tax, tax and whatnot. But when I get it, I try and make it a fair price within the Australia to avoid certain things, because some books to get back here is quite expensive. Like tax can go up to $500 to $1,000. It's some books are that, and it's too much of a risk to reward. Sorry, it's a risk and reward situation where it may get lost in the parcel, and then when it comes to PayPal and whatnot, payments and whatnot, I'm always safe on the other side. But it's always scary though, coming from the other side of the world, and just it may get lost, may not get lost, and whatnot. So it's a bit of a bit of a scare there. But I do enjoy getting those books and whatever books I can, because I have people constantly messaging me, oh, do you have this available? Do you have this available? And then I put it on my, okay, this is the list. I'll put down the names and whatnot. Then if I come across it, I'll look into it and get better deals and whatnot, and then try to bring it within Australia.
Fantastic. Look, there's quite a few questions that are coming through, and one of the big ones I think is how do they get hold of you? So there's what we're asking, where you're based, where's your site. So if somebody right now was to try to get hold of you to say, hey, look, I'm after Hawkman number 4. That's one I'm after. That's me personally for Satana. How do I get hold of you?
Okay, so pretty much I've started up. I've got an Instagram page at the moment, Northside _ comics. That will be the name of our online comic store. I've got that at the moment. Or you can just hit me up.
How do you spell that? Northside? I'm just going to put it in Northside _
_ comics.
Northside _ comics. Yep. Found it.
I don't have anything on there. I just made the page a couple of days ago. I've been too busy. I'll be checking some stuff on there. But what my promotion is to try get. So what I'll be doing is when I get up to 1,000 followers on that, I'll have a random draw. I'll select one and I will put a free at stake New Mutants 98 9.2 graded. I'll put that as a free giveaway.
Oh wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, so to try help and promote the brand and try get a good reputation within the Australian community out there.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Look, while you're talking, I'm just going to try to find your Instagram so I can chuck the link onto the live chat, so anybody who's there can.
I'm follower number 1.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Can you add the link? Because I'm still searching. So if you add the link, I'll add you. I'll join as well. Damn it!
I'll make sure that I've got the right one. It's Northside _ comics.
That's the one, and I just got the notification on the phone.
Damn it!
Perfect.
Number 2.
Awesome. Yep, I'll chuck that in the comments right now.
Awesome, thank you.
So there's no photos or anything up at the moment, but yeah, perfect.
I will be adding something in the next couple of days. I will put up a post in regards to the New Mutants 98, first Deadpool appearance and Domino. I'll put that up, and once we get to 1,000, I'll have a random draw, and then we'll have a winner by 1,000, and then when it gets up better, I can have more. So every 1,000, I'm planning to have a giveaway, just to keep everyone interested and whatnot too, and keep it going from there.
Definitely. So
have you thought about how you're going to do links using Instagram? Because with Instagram, you can't actually, until you get over, I think, either 50 or 100,000 or something, you can't actually add the link in to purchase it. So how are you going to use Instagram to make those sales?
So pretty much I will promote it through Facebook pages. I'll have the link of the Instagram page or the picture I'll put up there. I'll put the link on all the pages within the Australian community. With that way too, I look at different comic stores within, because there are a few on Instagram. So I do a bit of research and whatnot, and they will have a picture. I'll put multiple pictures of it. I'll put the grade on there. I'll have the price underneath with PayPal business and good service, including postage and whatnot. So I'll put all the details within that link, and then once I get sold, I will write sold on that, and then go from there. That's how that's how I've seen a lot of people do it on Instagram. So I just want to try that approach, because I haven't come across one in Australia as of yet. Nothing on Instagram of like a comic store on Instagram. So that's what makes it unique and different, to be something a bit more different in this in the Australian community, and approach it in a different way to see if it's beneficial or not.
Oh, look, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So that's one reason we brought you on, so we can have a chat of it. We've just got you 3 followers, so you've.
Oh, perfect! Thank you very much.
So that's a start. So hopefully we'll get you a few more coming through, but we've got the first 3.
Perfect.
So
thank you.
Look, I'm not sure if I can share this, but I'm going to anyway. So, you just picked up a really interesting comic. So it's the first appearance of Barry Allen, and I have to say I am insanely jealous of that one. How the hell did you wrangle? So I think what was the issue? Showcase 8 or something, if I remember right.
Showcase 4.
Showcase 4,
First,
yeah.
Yeah, first Silver Age appearance of Barry Allen.
So how did you hook that one up?
So I pretty much put it on one of the stages. I think I put it maybe about a month ago, a bit over a month ago, and I just put it every so often because I try to find different issues. I try to find a so I got a to-do list at home to try to get the Grails within Silver Age and from DC and Marvel what my preference is. So I've got that. So I try and mark it off, and I put it every so often on Facebook pages. And then I had someone message me about it. I said, "Okay, I've got this. Would you be interested?" Gave me a fair price on it. I said, "Yes, I will." Gave me a good option to have a payment plan because there was a fair bit of money invested into that. So that's when I started to sell off some of my keys. I was planning to sell off anyway, but that's when I tried to push it about probably 2-3 weeks ago. I've been a bit not slack, but I've been quite busy lately. But I will be getting some posts up very soon on the page, and I will be promoting the business within the Australian comic community.
Okay. So, and like I mentioned, we've got a lot of creators here, and I think there's a guy, he writes comics in Victoria, George Hall. He writes the Dawn series. Hey, George, thanks for the question. I know you've mentioned there's a lot of good stuff you want to do for the Australian comics community. Like, look, Impact, if you remember, is very supportive of creators. So is Deez. What are some of you, and we've talked offline about some of these, but what are some of your ideas to help, Australia creators as well?
So what my plan is to do, I would like to approach it and have a limited. So I'll go through. I haven't read too much into the indie scene, to be honest with you guys. I'm looking to go into it more. I'm looking to go talk to Brendan at Deez. Shout out to Brendan, and to see what he recommends, and then go through buy issues and look into it and then get an idea. So what my plan is to do is to get a signature series going with a custom label, and I'm in the talks at the moment. I'll plan to talk to Halo to see if they're willing to do it, to get a custom label to promote you guys and have a signature series. I'll get in contact with so that's what my plan is, to do a limited series and then have, say, 25. I get 25 on board. I get that. I send them off. Send them off to get graded, and a signature from anyone that's willing to do it, and to try to promote them and get the name out there too.
Awesome. That's really cool, because I've actually done used Halo to slab a couple of my Perman Basin Comic Con exclusives. So I actually used them for that service. And then when I did the San Diego Comic Con exclusive, I actually used CGC and did the signature series there. So I've then been using those for like Kickstarter rewards and everything like that. But if I actually had a store or someone that would be interested in obtaining those, then I would definitely try and get more done, or do like an exclusive cover. I know Deez is really good at getting like a small run of exclusive covers that you can just get through his store, which is a really unique and great way to not only promote indie comics, but for them to generate sales. Because as indie creators, we understand that it's not just about promoting us, that you guys need to actually make some money as well to be able to continue doing that type of stuff.
Yes, correct. So exactly what you said. Like Deez Comics, they did have an exclusive, I think, Teenage Mutant Ninja cover. I think it was.
I think Ash Matty did a cover, if I remember right, or
Ash
was it
Matty?
Ash? Yeah.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one was that. No, that was. I can't even think of his name now. I've got Jamie Johnston stuck in my head, but it wasn't him either. Oh, I feel so bad now.
Yeah.
We'll ask the chat. If
got
somebody can chat for these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who did the cover? If somebody in the chat can confirm that, that'll be much appreciated. Anyway,
I have
somebody
the
will come
cover
up with
somewhere.
that.
I have the cover somewhere. I'll have to look at it. I'll find it. Yeah, so I would like to do that. Maybe talk to a few indie comic book artists, illustrators, creators, and to see if they're willing to do an exclusive cover for me, and see if we can make a negotiation, go through Halo, do a custom slab, and go through and do it that way. So I'll need to talk to Halo first. I'm pretty good terms. I do send a lot of my stuff to go get graded there because he is quite good and consistent with his grading. So I will have a chat with him over the next couple of weeks and see what we can do from there.
It was Camilo. Sorry to jump in.
That's it, Camilo.
It was
Yes,
Camilo. So I had to Google it because I couldn't wait. But those type of ideas are quite clever. Sometimes I'm a little bit critical of comic book stores where I feel that they've haven't moved with the times and are kind of stuck in the same place they were 20 or 30 years ago. But then there's certain stores like D's, All Star Comics that actually do something different, actually try and think outside the box and go, okay, what can we do to actually generate and make money? And you sound like you're doing a very similar thing. You're like, okay, I haven't seen anyone do this via Instagram and use Instagram as that base. Let me try that and see if I'm able to generate some interest and all that type of stuff. So sounds like quite an interesting and unique take on that comic book market selling.
Yeah.
Look,
So.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You should talk properly afterwards because I think with XCT, I think you two could easily get something working together. So I think it's the first time you've talked to Sean, but I think you guys should talk properly in the next couple of days or something to sort something out.
100%. I would like to do that.
There, introduction made. Everybody's
I'm
happy.
blushing. Stop it, Stephen.
No, look, just my 2 cents with all this. Look, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And the fact that it's not just you're giving back to the community as well, I think that's really good because what you're going to get stuck with is, I don't know, you remember when the restrictions started happening, Diamond shut down, totally shut down. And basically no store in Australia got new stock in. And you might think about a lot of things. If you are based off a monopoly, especially for new comics, you're stuck. You got to, and that's where when DC moved out of Diamond to distribute themselves, it's causing no end of headaches for a lot of stores. I think Alterna is doing their own distribution as well. So you've got all these issues coming with distribution of new comics. And so having it diversified, I think, is the best approach. So,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You got to think, especially during these times, anything can happen.
Yep.
Diamond might shut down for another month. If anything, you just never. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we can't dwell too much and sit down and say, "Well, that's it." We try and make different ways. We try to look different roads and have different approaches and whatnot, and to try and boost out the indie scene within the Australian market too. We're here to help out everyone. We're here to help out everyone in these times. As hard as times it is, and we'll probably have harder times in the near future. But if we stick together, we can make everything achievable.
I know you haven't investigated some of the indie comics too much, and I'm happy to drop you a couple of names. Look, I'm 100% certain if you just want to read it, they'll be able to share a PDF so you can see what you're getting into. But there are some really, really good stories, some really, really good creators out there within Australia. Like George writes some really, really good books as well. So look, we've dropped your Instagram. Make sure you follow Ash there, and if you're an indie creator, message him and just say, hey, look, I'm an indie creator, let's talk. And at least it opens a dialogue up for you. Then you can start reading through a lot of the stuff that has been worked, and you'll see it's actually some really, really good stuff out there. It's some are hit and miss, but there's some really good gems out there as well.
Of course, yeah, I would be interested. If anyone wants to shoot me a message and let me know what they recommend, I'll look into it and see what I can get myself some copies and start reading into the indie scene.
But
We've got a
before
few
you,
people making comments already on what they want, mate. So you can have have an inundation of emails of going,
Yeah.
oh, can you get this? Can you get that? I do have a quick question, but with all of this COVID-19 stuff, how are you going with getting stock from the US? Are you still able to get stuff in? Is that relatively quickly, or is there quite a large lag? How's that going?
I've had no issues. Most of them I've asked for express just to get them in quicker because I ended up getting a Iron Man series, the first series. I got a fair bit of issues there from the States, and that I think it got sent out in March and didn't show up for 3 months. I got it maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, and that was just normal posts through UPS or USPS. Sorry. But then I asked someone to send me, I think, a comic through FedEx express shipping, and that came in within 4 or 5 days from the States, which I was quite surprised. So I've started using express shipping a lot now. It's a bit extra, but it just comes in quicker, and then it gives people less time, like less. For me, it's like I just can't wait. I can't wait. I need it right now. I must have it right now. So I've been getting I've been getting express done lately. So I haven't had any issue with the express. With the normal postage, it does take a fair while, but yeah, that's the only difference and difficulties I've had. Other than that, not that much of a difference.
Good, that's good.
Okay, so just look, we're on the hour mark exactly. Look, thanks so much for your time. So what we do is at this point is we just go back through. I know people have been adding questions, and we just want to make sure that we haven't missed a question by somebody. So if you can stay with us for another 15 minutes, we'll just run through all the questions to make sure we haven't missed any.
Yep, that's fine.
Sean, I think there's a piracy question, the latest one.
Here is a heavy question for you guys. What do you think of piracy in comic books? Does piracy help or hinder comic book collection? I spoke briefly about this not last week when we had Farhan on in regards to digital comics and everything. I'm myself personally, I'm not too fussed if people are going to copyright or digitally download my PDF or reprint it or whatever, or even scan one and put it up for free or whatever, because if people really like the series and really want to read the series, if they're true collectors, they will end up buying it anyway at some stage. And I'm even a firm believer on movies to a certain degree. That is also true. If you really like a movie, you eventually end up buying it because you want the best sound and the best quality and all that, because you love that movie so much. So I'm a firm believer in that with comics as well. I don't think piracy for indie comics is that much of an issue, but I can't speak for the big Marvel and DC guys how much money they lose to that. I did notice that the figures had dropped for the 2019 sales this week, so I haven't gone through and broken those down, but the headline did state that there was more sales than 2018, but just as a quick look, I did see that 2 out of the 3 categories did go down. So even though there was a large increase in the graphic novel category, digital comics and single issue comics actually went down by quite a bit. So, but yeah, that's what I think about piracy. I don't think that's it too much for me to worry about over something that I can't control and people will do anyway.
Oh, look, I'm exactly the same thing as you, and I will use probably music as the example. Look, if you look at any population distribution, you've got a section of population who will always pirate. You can't sell to them. It's cheap. They will never pay for it. And you're not trying to convince those people. And there's the other section which will always buy your stuff. Again, you're not trying to convince those people. You're trying to convince the bulk of the people in the middle, hey, look, my stuff is good. Pay a fair value for it. What you found that when the music industry started clamping down very, very hard, on piracy and all the rest of it, it made it worse. That get the rise of Napster and all those other things with music sharing. But what you found though, when iTunes came and when Google Play came, when there was a really fair and easy way to buy a song, I want to buy one song for 99 cents. I don't want to buy your entire album. They made it really simple to buy exactly what the consumer wants. There's no more talk about music piracy because there is a
Spotify.
Spotify. You want to pay for monthly, and I think that's the key. If you get something the consumer, it's what they consider is fair, what they consider is easy to use, people will pay. It's only when you start locking stuff down, and like Game of Thrones, for example. At the height of Game of Thrones, Foxtel decided, you know what? I'm going to be the only distributor in Australia for Game of Thrones. Piracy went through the roof, absolutely through the roof. Because guess what? People, look, I won't admit to anything online, but the whole thing was besides buying Foxtel, there was no legitimate way for you to watch Game of Thrones. And I didn't want to pay $40 per month for stuff I didn't want. I just wanted Game of Thrones. And that's what you found a lot of people getting very angry about. It's not that they don't want to spend the money. Like people buy the DVD box sets afterwards. It's you gave them no option. And I think that's where piracy, if you give a fair option, guess what? Comixology, a whole bunch of stuff, people will pay. And
Foxtel is a great example. Charge people $120 a month for a certain amount of shows where they only maybe watch 20% of what's on there, or pay $9.99 or $14.99 for a streaming service. And you wonder why people are leaving Foxtel in droves. Yeah, so I think you hit the nail and explained that perfectly. That if you are providing it at a price point that is value to both yourself and to the consumer, then it's not an issue.
Yep. Let's run through more questions. In case there's one about Kerim, would you be moving into manga as well? I think that's the 1102 question, or just sticking with American comics at this time.
I think we'll be. I don't see manga anytime soon, but again, never say never.
That's fine.
Yeah. My market at the moment will be, American-based and Australian-based comics. So that's what's on the menu at the moment for me.
No probs.
Max is already asking if you've got the first Deadpool.
Yeah, I've got it right here. Hit me up.
You're gonna have to fight me for that one, Max, mate.
He's giving the first Deadpool away for free as a giveaway, so sign up.
Yes, I'll be. Yeah. So if you follow my Instagram, we get to 1,000. I'll go through it randomly. I'll pick out one person out of the 1,000 for the free Deadpool 9.2.
Sorry.
Yeah. The person that subscribed first should always get
priorities, double chances.
Yeah, I'm letting you know subscriber. This is my subscriber number.
Darren did also ask a question a while ago. Who sounds like you're a big DC fan, so he wanted to know who you thought played the best Joker in your opinion in the movie versions.
That is a very, very debatable question. I'm really tossing up. This is probably a very, very bland answer, but I'm tossing up between Heath Ledger and what's his name? Joe Phoenix. How do you pronounce it? Joaquin. That's it. Joaquin Phoenix. The way they both interpreted the Joker was just very well done. Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know. I think he's overtaken it for me.
Okay.
And I might get hit by the missus because she loves Heath Ledger. But yeah, but the way he interpreted it, that he slowly developed due to hard times and whatnot, to everyone just walked by him. Just the way it is quite adaptable to this modern day. I just found it that interesting.
Okay.
I won't admit that I haven't seen it.
Oh, watch it. It's good.
It's
I know
very good.
it's something that I've been meaning to, but a lot of people have said that it's so deep and so emotional. Like I don't feel like I haven't been in a space where I'm kind of like, ready for that, especially being locked in my house and everything like that.
Yeah,
I just
no,
want
that's
some
fair enough.
pure trash entertainment, like Fast and the Furious or something, rather than
Extraction
something
is
that's something that's really going to kind of bring me down or have that emotional toll on me type of thing. But it's definitely on my to-do list.
Delayed for a bit. If you're not in that mood, it's a downer of a movie. It's well done, but it's not. You won't be smiling at the end of it. Let's see.
Nerds Amalgamated, do you have the first Phantom comic?
I don't yet.
I think there's going to be a lot of these questions.
I feel like it will be too. No, I don't have I haven't really looked into the Phantom properly yet. I was actually talking to my mate that I'm going partners with, and I never really got into it because, I don't know, it just never appealed to me as much as other comics per se. But the way he described it to me, and that there are always different Phantoms and whatnot that the ring passes on, it made me want to give Phantom a go. So I'm thinking about getting the Phantom comics now too. So, yeah.
Do you stock any old or current Australian comics? Because I know Phantom does a certain imprint here, and there has been other comics out of Australia, or is it still those mainstream ones that
I think
that you're
at the
currently
moment
focusing on?
at the moment, it's just the mainstream ones. Just at the moment, I've got about 4 or 5 long boxes that I've accumulated over 3 years that I have to go through. So there might be some stuff in there. I don't know exactly what's in there, so it's pretty much lucky draw. So once I go through that, hopefully I do come across something that I can stock up. Hopefully some old Australian comics I'd be interested in to find. And some of the Australian comics too that are like the Australian version of Batman and whatnot, some of the covers are really interesting too, and really the old school ones. So I'll be trying to find those too, and they're a bit harder to find than some of the American ones. The American main covers.
It's the print runs, as you probably can imagine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think we've covered most of the questions. Have we missed any, Sean?
No, I'm scrolling up. It looks like we're pretty on the ball tonight. Pretty impressed with how smoothly this has run. I haven't stuffed anything up, streamed to the wrong episode or anything like that. So, but we've had an amazing group of people on. We've had Nerds Amalgamated, who always seem to come on. We've had Darren Humphreys, who's a good friend of mine, who's always seems to jump on. We've had Quinton, again, really looking forward to when his stuff comes out. Max, thank you, George. Jane, who is a really good supporter of the indie community, so really nice for her to stop by. I think I even had a friend from America jump on, Rob Anderson, who does a lot for the indie community in America and has done a lot to help promote my books over there. So thanks for popping in, and thank you to everyone that watches this at a later stage as well. We appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, our guests, and yeah.
Any last thoughts, Kerim, before we wrap up?
Nah, nothing at the moment. But thank you guys for having me on board. It was my first interview I've ever done, besides a job. So, no, but
I hope
thank
we
you.
didn't ask you any too hard-hitting questions.
No, it was fine. I was really happy with it. You guys made it really easy for me, and I thank you guys for that. And
sign up to his Instagram. Make sure everybody, if you can, just give the Instagram a follow. And because we want him to get to 1,000, because I want that New Mutants 98. So
I'll update the link in the description afterwards as well. So it's also at the top there, so that people can find it if they're watching this as well. So definitely give it a like. Thank you very much for coming on, and always look after your first follower. That's the rule that we always tell people.
Look, and thanks, guys. Look, just a really quick update for everybody before we close off. Terra Olympus is going into Volume 3. Will be officially going into production next week. So Von's got, I think, the next 6 to 8 weeks all blocked out. So illustration will start soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. We've got the first proof back for Terra Olympus Volume 2. We're just tidying up some bits and pieces, hoping to get the first print run done sometime next week. And shipping will start. If there's anybody from the US who's backed the book, unfortunately, it's about a 2-3 month shipping time wait. They've closed the borders again, so there's a lot of restrictions on shipping from Australia across there. So it's on its way. As you know, every campaign we have fulfilled, every book has gone out, and I know people have come back to say, hey, look, we didn't get it. We will always try our best to fix it up for you. But yeah, it's just a longer wait. So just be patient with us. It's not us. It's the world right now. Beyond that, thank you, everybody. And it's goodbye from me, Sean.
Yeah, I just want to say that I've got that Indiegogo campaign for Fractured World. So if anyone doesn't have the series, it'd be great if you could jump on and support that. But I'm really looking forward to next week, because over the next week, I'm hoping to be able to announce some news in regards to XCT and a crossover with a video game company. Also, it looks like XCT might be in the running for some sort of award. So hopefully I'll be able to have some more information about that. And I've also got something else in the works that I'm hoping to announce. So tune in next week, 10 o'clock each night. So we will be doing 2 next week, so 10 p.m. next Sunday night, and then 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We've got been lucky enough to secure Dan Furigal, who is Agron out of Spartacus. So jump on and we'll talk everything Spartacus, creative conviction, and how to stay strong during everything that's going on in the world at the moment. So, but thank you very much. Thank you to our guest. It's been a pleasure having you on, and we will see you guys all next week.
See you later, guys.